Hello and welcome to the One Time Podcast. Nice that you're here. My name is Miriam and I'm the host of the One Time Podcast, where I talk about time management and productivity and how we can get things done with more fun, more ease, and without burning out along the way. And for today's episode, I spoke to Agata and Fernanda. I met them at a startup event at the Startup Center of the University of Copenhagen, where they talked about their company Beluna, which aims at helping women cycle sync, so living more in harmony with their menstrual cycle. And when I heard them speak, I thought about, okay, this is actually a really nice topic for my podcast, because I also talk about how can we live with our energy and work with our energy instead of trying to work against it, instead of trying to fight it, because that is just a fight that we can only lose. So we came together and sat down to record this episode. So if you are menstruating, then I'm sure that you've noticed that there's days when you just feel like hiding behind your blanket and not seeing anyone. And then there's maybe other days where you feel like, I can rule the world, I can do anything, I feel amazing. And that is just the two maybe extremes that we just experience every month. And with a bit more knowledge and a bit more awareness, we can take more advantage of these fluctuations, if we want to call them like that. And it can also be easier for us to just stay with our body and not like being annoyed by that it maybe doesn't do what we want it to do during some days. This episode is for you. If this is something that you experience and maybe would like to live with in a different way. A bit about Agata and Fernanda. Agata is from Poland. We met here in Denmark, and she is a communication and marketing specialist. And Fernanda is a nurse by training. She comes from Mexico and then came to Denmark to do her studies in global health. And they found each other. I think that's the best way to describe it. And now they joined on their mission to, empower women in their just natural way. I won't say anymore. I wish you a lot of fun with this episode. And, actually one more thing. We combined everything that we talked about in a PDF guide. And we're also going to share some exercises with you that you can follow on the PDF. So if after the episode you feel like, okay, I'd like to read up on that, or I would like to try those exercises, then feel free to grab the free copy. Yeah, coffee is also going to be a copy of the PDF guide. You can find the link in the show notes. Then I wish you a lot of fun listening. Hello, you two.
Hello.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. Let's dive right in and tell each other what phase we are in.
So right now I am in my ovulatory phase, which is actually perfect for this kind of presentations, podcast recording, and just putting yourself out there.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
I'm actually about to hit ovulatory as well.
Okay.
2 days.
So perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, as I just learned from you, I'm probably in the lunar phase.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm in is it then the third phase, or where would it start? Which?
It's the last one, right?
It's the last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, because the cycle, it starts with the first day of the bleeding. That's day 1.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm about to go into
The new cycle.
Yes.
You're probably
early.
early stages of the
Yeah.
luteal phase.
Yeah.
So there's some
I'm
time.
still good.
You're always good as
I'm
far
always
as you
good.
live connected with yourself. So
Yeah.
we will get into that, how
will
to
get
do
into
it
that.
to be always good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Would you like to start with your story? Like, how did you get into the topic of menstruation periods and making a difference about how we communicate? And do we communicate at all?
When I was like 13 years old, I think, which was actually 1 year after my first period arrived, I was kind of diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like a lot of cysts in the ovaries, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the definition, like the medical definition it is. But I can explain later why it's not. So that means that I had irregulatory cycle, so I would not have every month or like every 35 days. So immediately after that, and let's have in mind that this was like 20 years ago, kind of, or 15. Yeah, more like 50 years ago. So there was not like this advance in medical science, whatever. So after I was diagnosed, or wrongly diagnosed, I was put into the birth control pill as a 13 years old.
That's extreme, no?
Yeah. So after the first year of having my period, I was putting in the pill, and then the doctor oh yeah, you're gonna have like periods regularly, wherever they sold me like this perfect picture of just take the pill, you're gonna be regular, and you're gonna have your skin glowing and like everything. And if anything goes wrong, maybe it's not the right pill for you, so we can take you to another brand, and we're just gonna keep doing like this. And I was like, okay, great. And by the time I didn't know anything. So they said like, yeah, I came back like every 6 months, and everything was still the same. Obviously, they were like, oh, we're gonna try to take you off the pill. And I was on and off like 3 years something, until my mom was like, because at that time I was going to the gynecologist with my mom. She was like, well, this is clearly not working, so is there anything else we can do about it? And the doctor said no, but it doesn't matter until you want to get pregnant, then you come back. Which I think a lot of women can relate to that, especially from Mexico, because I'm from Mexico. The people that I've been talking to, they've been told the same. Like, whenever you have a problem with your menstrual cycle, just come back when you want to get pregnant. And then we can talk about it. It's like, okay, great. So then I started nursing school, and I started to learn about the menstrual cycle. But I came back with some other symptoms, not just like I didn't have my period every month. So I came back with another gynecologist, obviously. And the story was kind of the same. And then after my social service year in Mexico, I got my license as a nurse. And then I worked 1 year as marketing something like pharmaceutical. And while I was doing that, I certified myself as a menstrual coach or menstrual health educator. And that's when I started to learn all these things about menstrual health. And I was like, at the beginning, I was like so angry because it's like, why nobody told me this?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I've been spending 10 years of doing the exact opposite of what I have been doing. And now that I have to work and I have to be independent and I have to be a functional adult, on top of that, I have to learn about my body that I should have learned while I was at school when I had the time to focus on that. So at the beginning, I was like so mad. But then when I started to learn, it was like, okay, maybe all these 10 years of experience and what I'm learning now, it can help somebody else to do it like faster and to actually be prepared, to know what to expect and to live your life the way that your hormones are telling you to live it. Because you have like the roadmap right there, and we're not listening because we don't know where to look for. So then I got the master's here in Copenhagen, global health, and we were definitely talking about how globalization and all that stuff in like global health. So I wanted to focus on menstrual health, and then I saw this course in KU Innovators as well, and that's when I applied because I didn't have an idea per se to like innovation, but I just wanted to do something with menstrual health. Like I knew the topic, but I didn't know what to do.
Back in Mexico, you were working with women, right?
Yeah.
Like one-on-one, and it's just you saw that the problem is not only you or not only to other people. It's like most of the females are struggling. So
yeah, definitely. And then I started to work one-on-one with women on their menstrual health, and mostly PCOS because it was my experience, but also just like to general knowledge. And when I was holding workshops or lives and like Q&A sessions, like the questions were the same, and like the surprise was the same of like, I didn't know this. And it's like, yeah, I know. I know that we didn't know. And like, it's so infuriating that we're not there. Like, we don't know anything about our bodies, and everything that we know, it's based on non-menstruating bodies.
Yeah.
And it's like, Like half of the population, at least a bit more of the half of the population, is going to go through this at some point. And then let's not talk about menopause, because that's another whole topic. But if you can live the reproductive years in sync with your hormones, then maybe menopause, it shouldn't be that scary, you know?
Yes, and you can also prepare for the menopause.
Yeah.
What you said about the fact that we don't know and that there's still a big gap, there is a gap in research, like our hormones, because we all like can have it a bit differently. It's just so much harder to make the research on females than males. That's why, I mean, what you always say, and I love it, is like, we should not wait for the science to keep up. We should just try to do our best. And when you are cycle syncing and when you are learning about the menstrual cycle and the methods that are right now used for, it's working on many, many people. So that's why is the question, like, do you want to wait for the scientific proof that will be like 100% said to you? Or do you want to have what you have right now, work with that, and then just see how it goes? So coming to my story, maybe.
Coming back.
Yes. So for me, it was like totally different. I've never struggled regard my cycle. I never had maybe painful periods. I have like few times in my life. And for me, it was even more like the down part back pain. I had it a bit like right before period. Sometimes, okay, maybe once it happens to me that I puked during my period. But besides that, I was always very good. I was always training a lot and never felt the difference, to be honest. And then I met Fernanda. We started to talk. She introduced me a lot. And as she said, like, I was also the person who said, like, I had no idea about that. Like, I knew that there were phases. I knew that there are some differences, but I was like, I didn't know that it can affect me so much and that I can use it so much in my favor. So we started to talk. I was working on totally different project because we met here in Lighthouse. And as I said, I was studying cognitive science. So I wanted to do something with focus maybe, but I also didn't have the sharp idea into that. So we just kept meeting to keeping each other on track and like seeing where we go. Just to not forget about the projects. And then because the Fernanda was introducing to me and I was seeing like, oh my God, this is actually so important and that there is so little about it. We don't give the voice to this topic. And we were like, okay, let's combine our forces. So that's how I started to learn about it. And I'm definitely at the beginning of the road right now. But I was also working in marketing, also in the pharmaceutical industry. And I am still working in the communication. And I am doing my master's in cognition and communication. So I try to give the voice to the project and to the idea. And I also try to put it there simple and show myself as a person who is also trying to incorporate this and that you can try with the little steps. Because to be honest, to incorporate it like at once, at least for a person who is working, studying, doing some sports on the side, is extremely hard. And from my point of view, I can definitely say that I am not there yet because it also can feel a bit overwhelming when you start to read about it, start to learn it, and then you are like, oh my God, I have to change my whole lifestyle. And this is also how I felt at some point. And it's so hard. First of all, the habits are very like strong in us. Like to change one habit, it's like we all know how much it is of the work. I guess today we can also talk a bit like how we trying to incorporate it and what is working and also what is not working because I don't know, I'm not there yet. Definitely. Definitely. And even now, like I am in the ovulatory phase and I would say that I feel confident. I was not very stressed before the event, but I also know that I didn't have enough sleep in general. So I don't feel 100% the effect that I could have.
Yeah.
And this is what is sometimes a bit frustrating when you have this knowledge that you know that you could be better just by your inner system, that it's helping you there. But because you are not fueling it enough, it's just working like on the basics level. That right now I would say that I don't feel the ovulatory effect. Like I just feel normal. But how can I feel it if I ate chips all the last week, sleep like 4 hours?
Yeah.
Was totally stressed because didn't manage my deadlines correctly. So yeah, I guess this is how it is for me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But I guess you can also know that if this was during another phase, then you would be
I think
more tired.
I would definitely be more tired and more stressed maybe before also, or like having less encouragement to do it. Like you do it, of course, because you want to have your certain idea in your head, but you don't have this willingness maybe. I feel like that would change in me if I was right now in my like late luteal phase, just before menstruation. I would be probably like, oh no, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And today I was like, okay, like of course, because of the things that are happening like in the private life, I was a bit tired or like not in this super charismatic stage, but I was like, yeah, I can do it. Like it's fine and it's okay. And so it's nice when you start to learn about the cycle that you start to notice these differences that probably 6 months ago I would not even think about it.
Yeah, when you planned the workshop that I went to and you thought about, okay, when are we going to do it? I mean, it was the day of menstrual health, right? So it was kind of a day that you couldn't choose.
Settled.
Yeah, exactly.
It was settled.
Yeah.
So you would have chosen another day or?
Probably yes. We both were menstruating.
Yes, we were.
Well, I menstruated the day after, so I was premenstrual, but like very late premenstrual, and she was menstrual.
Yes,
so
I think I got the period on the day of the workshop.
Before, I think you told
in the
me
night.
the
Yeah,
night
I remember
before.
texting to Fernanda like 10 p.m. like, guess who got their period the day before the workshop.
And I texted her then day after the workshop, like, now I have my period. But like, I think that's what I like, because like, well, this is a topic that I talk about it like very much. So with my friends and with my family, like even with my dad or like my male friends, like I talk about it like very openly.
Yeah.
And I think it's like very nice that my surroundings like start like getting on board on that. Like one peak moment that I had, this is very totally of the topic. Yeah, but like peak moment, it was like I think 2 months ago, 1 month ago, I can't remember. But I was talking to my friend. I just met her here at the Masters in September, like by September. So it's not like a very long friend from like very. Just met her. But I've been talking about this, and then I can't remember what we were talking about, doing something. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And then she said to me, like, okay, do whatever you feel like now. And then when you're on ovulatory phase, then you go and do it out. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. Because they start to learn how to manage not just the blood, but like how to manage your life. And they start like asking questions, and then they started to plan their lives with their menstrual cycle. And like, that was a big moment for me.
I love it.
I was so proud.
I love it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think also the communication during the workshop, to me, it has something healing. That we talk about it in such a group, and everyone had like, for the context, you ask everyone about something that they experienced during different phases, right?
Yeah.
And people wrote like, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm angry, I'm annoyed with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yes.
And I was like, you feel the same.
Yeah.
So I thought it was so nice, because I feel that the period is something that we are mostly ashamed of, and we feel like it's just me.
Yeah.
And whenever we feel shame, we feel like alone.
Yeah.
Whereas when there is 4 women in the room, I guess chances are kind of high that one of them is on her period or something.
Yeah, definitely.
I also feel like regards period, it's this, like, it's not a taboo topic, but at some point it still is. In the meaning, like, you are not, when you say what phase are you in, I don't know, I don't talk about it with my friends. We talk about period only negatively, I would say, when we have the pain, and where you are like saying to somebody, oh, I really can't, like I feel pain, but you don't talk positively about the cycle in general. You just skip the topic. And sometimes also like the moments when I hear like, oh my God, you're so dramatic because you are on your period. Like, I hate it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think we all do.
Of course, you get more emotional maybe, and first of all, if you have zero knowledge regards the cycle, how can you manage these emotions? Like you just feel, okay, I heard a million times that I am dramatic because I am on my period. So it has to be true. Like I am just dramatic. No, there are different processes going on in your body. And maybe you can just also manage your emotions better when you start to know them. I had this problem with my boyfriend when I am menstruating or like right before menstruation. I do get more emotional. I can see that a lot.
Same.
And really. Yeah. And there is a lot of fights coming on because I can see that he don't understand that he has to give me a little bit more space maybe, or he has to understand that sometimes maybe I go a bit like too emotional on him because he's my closest person. And I feel like, okay, this is the safe space where I can manage it out because I am not in this stage of my own healing process where I can just do it by myself and feeling okay. But for example, for Dirkus, he don't understand it still. So it's still the process for him as well. And I do feel like men should also know about this. They should educate themselves about this because just when you say, oh yeah, my girl is on my period, she's so annoying. Like, wow. So such a great move, like such a gentleman move and so loving. But somehow in the society, we think that it's okay to keep going in that direction.
And also to hide it, like who would tell at work, like, I'm not going to come today because I'm on my period.
Yeah, exactly.
One would say, I have a headache or I don't feel well, or go anyways and use painkiller.
I know that there are companies that you can use, like as a female worker, you can just say like, once a month that you are on your period and you will not come to the office and you will not work. I know, I don't know many companies, but I know a Polish company who is doing it like this. You don't have to have any doctor approval because back in Poland, you have to have the doctor like approved to not come to work and still get paid. And back in Poland, there is a company who actually is doing that. Like you can just take a day off, 1 or 2, and without any consequences, without any questions, just like recover yourself. I feel like it has to be based also sometimes on trust because, for example, me, I would not need this kind of days off. Like maybe once in a year, but otherwise no. And then this comes the question like, oh yeah, but why she can have time off? But people don't understand that she's not taking it because she is just feeling a bit bad and she's like feeling a bit nauseous. So she's just sitting in bed. No, like some women just cannot go out from the bed because they have such a pain.
Like, I used to throw up like every month. And like my mom would know, like she would know like you're on your period, right? And I was like, yeah, how do you know? Like that day, like she would not see anything. But then she would ask me and it's like, yeah, because your face is all green.
Exactly.
You're about to throw up. It's like, yeah, I'm in so much pain, Mom.
It can be that strong.
And actually in Spain, there is the discussion right there because they have like by law, you can take the day off. So they did a study. I can't remember if it was this year, last year, or some year, but they did a study of why women were not using those days because by law you were allowed to take them off. And it was because women were pushing through even though they had to pay for not saying that they were on their period. For not looking weak with their male counterpart. So it was like, then it's something about stigma. It's like policy and like when we were talking more about the period, something that I've been thinking about now that I'm doing the global health masters and we talk about global north and global south and whatever. So we basically, when we're talking about menstrual health, we're focusing more on a stigma in low middle income settings like global south about how periods or like the blood is perceived in like other countries. But for me, what I've experienced here in a high income country like Denmark or Europe is like we think we are like more advanced and like we are beyond stigma. And what happens after that is that we stop talking about it because we are just unbothered by the blood. And we have to be more than just unbothered by the blood. Like if we say like, oh, yeah, it's just blood, we need to talk more. We need to go further and talk about what it means. Because it's not just about those 5 days per month. It's like for 30, 40 years that you're menstruating, it's your 24/7 life. And it's how you eat, how you exercise, how you think, how you interact with others, how you work. So it's not just about the blood. And I think that's why also we are trying to give voice here in high income settings as well, because it's not just about a stigma of the blood.
Yeah, like you say in Spain, I mean, if then women are too worried or too scared or too ashamed of saying, oh, well, she is gone every month because of her period, and everyone knows she's on her period.
Yes.
Exactly. And maybe that's not, that feels weird.
But still, if we have in our heads like, oh yeah, she's on her period, like we have to point it out somehow, or we know that people will point it out, like, did we really get over it or not? Because it's like, why do we even think that people will know? It's coming from somewhere, and it's coming from the point where actually people talk about it and they put the negative aspect to it. And it's also like, oh, I will show my weakness somehow. We should not be like this. This is part of our body. This is part of the process. And of course, because actually when we live according to a process, we can get rid of some of the negative consequences we have, right?
I mean, at certain level, I do understand why like non-menstruating people would have trouble understanding it, because we experience it and we still don't understand it. We're kind of lost because like there is lack of research and different things. But once we read about it, we kind of understand it because we go through it every day. But I do understand I do see how it could be a problem from non-menstruating people to understand all of these struggles, because they have been living in a society made for them. So they don't struggle with that. And they haven't lived a single period in their life, or like having these changes of mood, or like the nutrition of the guidelines, or everything that it's out there for like the WHO or like global guidelines are made for them. So it's not that they have trouble. They don't see why they have to adapt. Like if we are having trouble understanding it, I see how they could have trouble.
Sure.
Agreeing with it, kind of.
Yeah, but trouble of understanding is one thing, but being ignorant is the other.
Yeah.
Like many people are not interested in that.
Yeah.
That's being ignorant and not having trouble with understanding.
Yeah, they can be both, I guess.
Yeah, they can be.
Yeah, let's go into explaining the cycle. Let's talk about that.
So we start the cycle with the first thing of the bleeding. When we go into menstrual phase, it's 3 to 5 days, let's say, and then we are bleeding. After that, we are going to follicular phase or pre-ovulatory phase. And this is the moment when we start to feel more energy, when we are looking for the ideas, when we feel more curious about the world. And also maybe here I want to add the disclaimer that we are also always saying that the characteristics I'm saying are general. And they don't have to be the same for you. And it does not mean that this is something wrong or bad. It's just that the general characteristic we know to make it easier to give the overview. After the pre-ovulatory phase, we go into ovulatory, where we release the egg. And there's like many different theories about that, but this is basically the releasing the egg phase, and it's 24 hours. Like, of course, hormones can go, still there are changes within the hormones, but the phase itself is 24 hours. And from that phase, we will go into the luteal phase, which is premenstrual, where we are again getting more focused on ourselves. We are not very into going outside, giving the phones, sending the emails. This is not the vibe, I would say, of this moment. Probably the group work also is not the best idea, which is kind of like the opposite of the ovulatory, where you are just ready to kick it out, to like be with people. You can be very assertive and very like, I can do it, like I am on it. And then you just, after the luteal phase, you are finishing your cycle. And then it starts all over again. So also what is worth to mention is like the men's cycle is more like within the 24 hours. And here we are thinking more like monthly. That's why we should be aware of it, because the energy can just differentiate, not only during the day, like, oh, at noon you are at your peak and you just do everything and then you are chilling down. A lot of people having this, but we have to also take in the account which day of the month is that for us, for our cycle.
Yeah.
We need to consider that. Because, for example, sometimes when you are on a diet or when you are trying to do exercise, sometimes it's very difficult to do some things in certain parts or like throughout each phase. And then sometimes it's like, at least for me, it was like, oh, I'm lacking discipline, or like I don't have self-control when it comes to eating. But it's our hormones.
Yeah.
And it's a cycle of like, oh, now I'm eating a lot. It's because I don't care about myself. And there are all this stuff that goes around when you don't know about your cycle.
And it's also for the safety because, for example, in the luteal phase, we will go in a minute to the hormone part, but in the luteal phase, it's more easy to get, how to say that in English, when you break your leg or
injury.
It get injured. It's just because of the hormones that are changing, and there's like progesterone, and we don't produce that much collagen. It's just easier. Of course, it's not like the changes that you will go outside and something will happen, but it's just if you are aware of it, you can avoid it more easily.
So as we have 4 phases of the cycle, we have 4 main hormones that are fluctuating throughout these 4 phases. So we're gonna divide kind of the cycle into 2. Having ovulation as the main, like the part that's dividing the 2 of the other parts. So we have at the beginning, we have the follicular phase, then the ovulation, as she said, it's just 24 hours because it's not like you're releasing the egg throughout all of the
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah,
It's just like
yeah.
you just release the egg and whatever. And then you have like transition days, which is like between each phase. That's why we can say that it's like 2, 3, 4 days of ovulation, but like releasing the egg is just like
24 hours.
24 hours, yeah. And after the ovulation, we're gonna have the luteal phase. When we have these 2, we're gonna place the hormones into 2 and 2. So we have the follicular stimulating hormone, which, as its name says, is going to stimulate the follicle to growth. So that's going to be before the ovulation because it's going to make the follicle to grow into the mature, very nice egg that we're going to release. And during that, we also have estrogen. So we have estrogens and the follicular stimulating hormone in the first phase. Then we have ovulation, and with the ovulation, the kind of like the sac that it's releasing the egg, so the egg goes bye. And then we have this sac that it's becoming kind of another kind of hormone. And it's going to be the luteinizing hormone. It's going to produce progesterone as well. So in the first part of the cycle, we're going to have estrogens and the follicular stimulant. And then we're going to have progesterone and the luteinizing hormone. We're going to have those 4. So 2 are going to be from the ovaries and 2 are going to be from the brain. So estrogen and progesterone are going to be from the ovaries, and then the other 2 are going to be from the brain. So this is a constant communication back and forth. And that's why we're going to have like peak and down, because when one pair is up, the other pair is down. So we're going to go up and down. During the first part, everything is getting ready for the peak of the egg when it's really mature. And that's when a lot of follicles are going to start like kind of grow. But at the end, it's just going to be one, which is going to be the egg. That's what I meant at the beginning when we were talking about PCOS. You're always going to have a lot of follicles growing up during the first part of the cycle. But with PCOS, instead of one, like the dominant, and the others start to slowly die, they just stick there and there is no one dominant. So you don't ovulate. It's not that you have cysts in your ovaries. It's just these immature follicles that never got to get the full cycle. Yeah, you reach the peak and then the first 2 or the pair of the hormones are going to go down since they reach what they needed to do, which was maturing that egg. And then the other 2 goes up, which I don't like to compare it like that, but like for that part of the cycle, you have to think about that the body is getting ready for a pregnancy, which I don't like to, because it's not just for that, but it's how it works. Like biologically, it's how it works. So it prepares the uterus lining and like everything, makes it like kind of pretty in case there is a pregnancy. And of course, when it doesn't happen, like it goes down and starts all over.
And the hormones then affect how we feel and how we...
Yeah. Yeah. As I said before, 2 of these hormones are from the brain. And we have like very different things going on in the brain, as we know. So there are different axes that kind of regulate a lot of things. We have the axis that regulates the menstrual cycle each month. So it's like, as I said, back and forth, this communication. But in that place, when it starts, we also have the axis that regulates stress or this flight or fight response. That's when it becomes tricky because we have it in the same part of the brain. So the stimulus are kind of they get in the same kind of house. So for example, if you are worried, if you are stressed, the body doesn't recognize if it is because you miss the bus or because everything's on fire. You're just stressed. So your brain is like, or your body is always trying to make you survive. That's its main goal, to make you survive. And if you are stressed about something, then your body and the brain is like, okay, it's not safe to start another cycle because it might be a pregnancy. And if I cannot keep you safe as an individual, how are we supposed to take care of another human being or like creating life? So the brain is just like, okay, we're just gonna shut this axis and
So
let's
smart.
yeah, exactly. And let's just concentrate and focus all of our energies in make you survive. So sometimes, for example, when you are stressed or when you are under eating or over exercising, which all of this is an information for your body or your brain, like it's not safe, you will miss your period because your body is like, no, I cannot afford. Like, sorry, but not today, guys. Maybe later. But right now, I am trying to keep you safe. There is like this barrier in our brain, so not all the hormones can pass through this barrier. But progesterone and estrogen, which is one of or 2 of the 4 main that are from the ovaries mainly produced, because there is also produced in the adrenal glands, which also produce cortisol. So stress and the menstrual cycle are very correlated, which is smart and which is like biologically designed for that, for protecting you. So these 2 hormones can trespass that barrier in the brain very easily. And the levels of it, it's kind of like the feedback that these axes get if we are getting the cycle or not. And for example, estrogen and progesterone, they have different effects in different parts of the body, which that's why we have different metabolism throughout the phases, or we can concentrate more because like the brain part of the brain is like more alert, if you want to call it like that. Everything is information to your brain and to your body of how they can handle the menstrual cycle.
Okay. Yeah, could we go a bit more into that? Like, what is the information for our body when it comes to focus or when it comes to metabolism? So how can we tune into those a bit more? How can we feel them, like notice them, and then what can I do to support my body more?
And I'm not sure if I understand. It's like, what can you actually do regards the cycle syncing? Okay, I guess the first thing is to acknowledge it, that you have it. And actually learn a little bit in the meaning of, okay, which phase, how long is it? And then when you start to have this knowledge, you will notice it.
Yeah.
Because it's really not, at least at my point, it was not that dramatic of a changes that I was noticing. It's just like that, like, oh my God, why am I feeling so emotional? As long as I didn't pay attention to it, I was like, okay, it's another day. Like things are happening. My life is just sometimes very weird. And then I am in that point. But when I got the knowledge and when I knew more or less in which phase I am, it started to make sense. It was just this emotional stuff that I had I started to see the patterns for them. And with that, I was like, okay, I have to chill myself a little bit, like before my periods. Or for example, I started to notice this energy levels in the morning for me during the follicular phase. And with starting that, you can choose what is working the best for you to even boost it. Like I definitely to stop forcing yourself when you are in front of the menstrual and you're attacking yourself like, oh, why am I not this energy monster who wants to dance all the time? And like asking yourself what is wrong, because nothing is wrong. It should be like this. It's all fine. And as I said, first, I would just get a little bit of knowledge, which you can find on our Instagram. So we just encourage you to go there or take a book. There are books written about this. Second of all is look for yourself. What are the methods that you are already doing? For example, for me, listening to the music, it's boosting my energy a lot. And I love to do it in the morning, personally. The moment I wake up, I like to have the music. And I am incorporated is much more in like the follicular phase and ovulatory phase. Because then I want this energy to be boosted. But I don't force myself to do it like during my menstrual phase when I don't feel it. And I feel like, okay, maybe I just prefer more like chill music in the evening. So this is what I did, what I was already doing before, and it was easier for me to boost my systems. Then you can also try to incorporate the food a little bit. When you learn more about the seeds that you should eat in each phase, it can start to be easier for you just to add them a little bit, to not make this dramatic of a change out of the night and learn everything. Just step by step and you will get there. That's how I feel regards how to start incorporating it actually into our daily life.
Yeah, I think for me it was, as you said, start to acknowledge that you have it. So there are different patterns that you will encounter throughout it. And I think the first 3 months are the most difficult one, because you have to, or at least for me, it was kind of not recording or like journaling, but like write it down everything how I feel throughout the day. Because if you don't know it, like you will not recognize the pattern if you don't have it there. So throughout these 3 months at least, it's like very demanding. That's why I was saying that I should have done it when I was at school, not when I was trying to be a functional adult. But recording and write it down how you feel. And then after 3 months, then you kind of, you know how you feel. And it's like, oh, now I'm in this phase. For example, for me, after these 3 months, I realized that my peak energy weirdly is the second day of my period. So during my second day of my period, I'm like, okay, let's get things done. Let's gonna do everything. Let's go out. Like once I had my oral exam on my second day and I was like, yes, I'm trying perfect timing. And then, I got like a 12 because I was just talking and talking and talking. And I was like, yeah, great. Guys, thank you. But it takes time to get there. And it's also very demanding. And I think that's why we are creating Biluna, to make it easier, because it can be demanding once you are already into your life. And now try to learn the basics of how you function. It can be very hard. And it took us very long time, and we're trying to make it easier for people. But yeah, you can start by acknowledging all these patterns, that it doesn't have to be the same for everyone. There are different things that can affect your menstrual cycle. For example, if you're taking antibiotic, or obviously if you're on the pill, like you cannot register anything because that's not a cycle. Yeah.
And also it is about, for this 3 months, like regulating your life and being aware of it. Because, for example, okay, you might eat very healthy and you might see the changes, but then you are sleeping only like 4 hours every night. And you just, it's just about also caring about your general health at that point. So the system can actually works in your favor, not against you.
I mean, definitely for me, it was very hard coming here, because like I was cycle thinking I was thriving in Mexico, but I was living with my parents. I didn't have to worry about surviving, kind of. But now that I'm migrating, like I'm so far away from home, almost like I'm gonna be like 1 year away from home. And like in Mexico, at least in my family, like we are very community center, and in here it's not like that. So it really affected how I was cycle syncing. Like for the first months, I was like, I cannot do it.
Mm.
And I knew I couldn't do it because like everything is so expensive here. So like the food that I was used to, it was different. And so you have to very adapt and like be very aware that it has to be very local appropriate. You cannot just say, oh, let's have this high protein breakfast and you are doing the pancakes with the protein powder if it is not available for everyone.
And also, really, I think to start to look at it as a tool that you already have inside you, and you can use it and you can fuel it in certain moments. So it can work more for you. It can give you more. But also, if you don't do it, it's not bad. It's not like you are losing it. It's not like it's another task on your to-do list. It should not be.
No.
It should be something that you are aware of. You can stimulate it to be better, but it should not overwhelm you. And you should not start with, okay, I have to be perfect at that.
Yeah.
No, it's just something that you have and you should be aware of that. Unfortunately, we are not learned at school and we have to put, because of that, some work at the beginning. But just don't treat it as another task to do, like, okay, now I am studying about my cycle and this is like another second job I have and I have to be so focused. No, it has to be a bit natural. Give yourself a space and just really treat it as something that you already have that you can use. But it will not do anything that, I mean, of course, the PMS, it's tragic and it is a bit of consequences that we are not aware of it, that we don't know how to work with that. But you are missing out, but you are not losing something.
Yeah, I think when I started looking at it a bit more, like one thing that I learned from you actually, because what I thought is that all the 4 phases are 1 week. I just thought it was, because when I see like graphics, it's always like a pie divided in 4 for the phases and then like do this and that phase, do that and that phase. So I just thought, okay, they're all equally long. That's what I thought. And then what helped me, that is picturing it in terms of seasons. But that's maybe a European-centered view. So that I could picture myself, okay, I'm in winter, so I'm like hibernating. I'm in my cave or I'm in my nest or something. But that I also push myself more when I'm in summer. Like, because before I was kind of going for runs regularly. Like I was trying to go for a run 2 or 3 times per week.
Yes.
But now I'm like, okay, when I'm in my peak energy, I go every day.
Yes, why not? Right?
Yeah, why not?
Exactly.
But then when I'm in my other phase, I'm like, yoga it is.
Yes.
And allowing myself that and also like defending it. Kind of, because my boyfriend was like, no, you're running too much. I'm like, no, I'm like,
you feel it.
I can go running now.
Exactly.
And
so
actually
that something that helped me.
Better for you, like whatever your goal is, if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to just maintain or if you're trying to gain muscle, it works for you. Because if you, like, for example, go running during your premenstrual, like very much, when your progesterone is up and not your estrogen, then you can gain weight instead of losing it.
Okay.
Because your progesterone, as we said before, it's very looking for stressors, kind of like seeing if it is safe out there. So exercise can be seen as a stressor, kind of. So if you are overdoing it during your premenstrual and menstrual, when your progesterone are up, maybe it can be perceived as stress, and then you lose everything that you've been working through the cycle. But once you know it, it's like, that's how I started managing my PCOS, because the doctors, you have to lose weight. And I was like, okay. So I went to the gym and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 2 hours of cardio every day. And I was not losing weight, and it's so frustrating because I was like, it's not lack of discipline. It was just like I was overdoing it, and I wasn't doing it in the right phase. And now I know when to do it, when to lift heavier, when to just like kind of move. Or now I know, but before nobody told me that, and I was gaining actually fat instead of gaining muscle.
Yeah, and it's just a part of the self-care that you should incorporate, because as you said, like, you are feeling that you can go every day for a run and you want to do it, but then there is this voice is like, oh yeah, I will overwork myself now, so I will be lazy later. Like, you try to manage it, but at some point when you get the knowledge, and you said you got the knowledge and you were like, okay, let me go for a run, you start to see that this is really the self-care for you, because you are working for your system. It's like putting the cream every night because you don't want to have a dry skin tomorrow. You just get the knowledge so you can exercise more in that period, so you can relax better when you don't want to do it anymore. And if you look at this like a part of your self-care, you just see it as something fun and something that is actually giving you more than it takes to learn that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so once I saw a reel that they were like this coach saying that she was against cycle syncing for exercising because it's not supposed to just work out 2 weeks and then rest for 2 weeks, but it's not about just stop working out for 2 weeks. It's just like doing some other stuff that actually works for you. It's not like you have to stop doing everything for 2 weeks and just go to bed. And I think looking at the menstrual cycle like that you are 2 weeks productive and then 2 weeks doing nothing, I think it's also part of the stigma that we need to tackle. And like, it's not, you're not doing nothing, you're doing some different stuff.
As Fernanda said, like her peak moment is the second day of the period, right?
Yeah.
And she could like gaslight herself into thinking, no, you should go to bed and relax. You need to relax right now. Actually, no.
Yeah.
You learn the body literacy. You observe yourself. You see that this is your peak level. So this is when you are using your powers. And then you see, okay, for me, I know during ovulatory, I feel just overwhelmed. Like all this energy is hitting me up in the negative way. Okay, so I relax more then.
Yeah.
And it's just personal. That's why you have to do some work.
Yeah.
But it can be fun when you start to see the result.
Yeah.
And it can be nice if you are incorporated step by step and not treat it as the second job.
Yeah, right. Sure. And then for the company that you're building, Leluna, what is the vision that you have or your mission?
So our mission is definitely to spread the knowledge and to make it seem actually easy and to make it seem fun, that we can do it without overwhelming ourselves. This is like our mission and vision, that the world will see cycle syncing as something fun, easy. Just to incorporate is one step from you, not so far. From now, we are working on our product, but it's very early stages, so we don't want to share it yet. However, it will be something that will make it easier for all of us to incorporate it in the daily life. We are building it for the women that are busy, that their schedule is packed, and that they just don't have time to think about it all the time and to prepare themselves so much before. And also, like we really like to spread the knowledge about it. We like to share it. We see the impact, as you said, that on our workshops you felt heard. You felt this community that sometimes it's hard to feel, even though we are all in the same process. We just don't share it out loud. So we do want to continue to build this community, and we do want to make the workshops more available for people and more aware that it's something that it's good to know and it's nice to have it, not something that, oh, I am cursed because I have my period.
No.
Yeah, I think we also kind of want to focus on advocacy, as you said, with the workshop, like trying to amplify this knowledge, because it's not a message, it's knowledge that it's already out there. Yes, there is a very big gap in science that we still missing, but the few things that we already have are not getting to menstruating people, and we're not using it, and we already have it. And I think if we share this with more people, then the funding will come for this kind of research and everything will, like, I think now it's the momentum, like it's building momentum, like this movement of, it's not movement, but like knowledge of we need to do better for the other half of the population.
Also, even because the day of the workshops was International Menstrual Hygiene Day, which was actually changed because it was noticed that it's not only about the hygiene. And now the full name of the day is
Menstrual Health and Hygiene.
Menstrual health and hygiene, because it is about our health, our well-being, not only about our blood going out of the body, and we have to take care of it just to be clean and just to not be seen with it. The focus is changing already. However, nobody's talking about it at school at the moment when you have actually time. And it's easier to just build some habits when you are in this stage, and where all the girls could actually talk about it more openly with each other from early stages.
Yeah, and I think it could help girls in puberty a lot, because I mean, then everything is more complicated already, right?
Even before you have your period.
Yeah.
Because right now, for example, my niece, she's 9 or 10. But she hasn't had her period yet, but she knows about it because of TikTok and like social media. And if you look into social media and you put period or menstruation, you get all these scary things of like, it's awful and you're going to be hurting. And like, it's like you are going to be moody and everyone is going to hate you and you're going to hate everyone and you're going to fight with everyone. And when you get all of this information before, like, first of all, your brain is not fully developed. So you don't know what you're going to deal with if you haven't experienced it. And then get all this information while you haven't experienced it is like so confusing. And for example, when I was trying to get like workshop for kids before their first menstrual cycle, some mothers were like, no, but like, I don't want to talk about it before it's there.
Okay.
Because they will get their own information and they will get their own idea, whatever. But I think it's the other way around. If you prepare them, maybe it shouldn't be something scary or traumatic.
Yeah.
It could be something that they can embrace. In so many other cultures, they embrace it and they make like this passage ritual of actually being happy about the first menstruation.
And when it comes to that, it's also like when you hear all these negative messages even before, or like you just started, or even like you are in the latest stage, but you still keep getting this message, you are priming yourself into thinking, oh, it's something negative. And it's very hard to overcome this state when you already have it in your mind, when this opinion is built. And then if you are primed that it's something bad, of course you don't want to talk about it. Of course you don't want to share it. When you are primed, like it's a shame that you have it, or when, of course, it's not nice if, I don't know, you are not aware that your period will come and then you can see the sign and everybody can watch it. Of course, it's nice, but it should not be that shame moment when you are the shame person, when it's your fault. It should be the shame for the people that make you feel that way. You are just in your vulnerable moment and somebody's shaming you because, I don't know, oh my gosh, she should know. It happens. Like some periods are also irregular. This is also, the meat. I was thinking that we are cycle syncing with each other. You know, what I told you, like, oh yeah, we are spending so much time together. So we are, our
I heard about that.
are getting connected. I was believing in that. I was like, okay, I have our spirit with my mom when we are together. And Fernanda explained me that, yeah, it's one of the myths around it because our periods are just like, our cycles are just in different times. It's not every month like the same days, like it can be 27, 28. So then they are actually colliding at some point.
Yeah. It's a statistical, so it's not like you actually get like pheromones or whatever. Like that's just a myth.
It's not contagious.
No, exactly.
It's a cute
exactly.
It's a cute myth. Yeah, true.
Because, for example, we could think that we were in sync, but she actually started 2 days before I did. So it's not like we were syncing.
Yeah.
It's just like we have some of the phases overlapping in some days.
Yes.
Yeah. I also heard from some that it's like sync to the moon, but it's probably also a myth.
I mean, it's kind of like, you can kind of explain it that way, the moon and the sun. For example, the sun goes up and down every 24 hours, which is kind of the rhythm of the non-menstruating people. But if you see it as the moon, that it has a cycle of like 28, 29 something days, it actually explains more your cycle as a menstruating person. So it's not like you are
syncing
with the moon.
Cycling with the moon.
Yeah, cycling with the moon.
Syncing with the moon.
Syncing with the moon. But it's just like, you can see it, how it kind of reflect your cycle. It's not like you are with it. It's just the phases.
Also, I feel it's natural to look for the place in the nature
that
have similar looking for the analogies. It's the same with the season changes that we talk about, that we are not using it anymore. However, it's just sometimes easier to visualize it because when you are not learn about it and you just randomly see it on Instagram, of course it's easier to put this information and just, then you can kind of remember that more easy. It's just to make it easier.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to share to the menstruating people out there?
I guess just keep in mind that all we are talking about, if these informations are a lot right now, keep it simple, keep it fun, and really treat it as something for your wellness. It's like going to the spa. It's the same reading about it and just trying to incorporate it. It's like trying different skincare routines and seeing what's working for you.
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah, some curiosity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for today. I
Thank
really
you
learned a lot
so
and I enjoyed
much.
it.
Thank you. It
for
was a
having
pleasure
us.
for us.
Thank
Yes.
you.
It was fun.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed this conversation just as much as I did. I learned quite a lot during the episode, but also before I spoke to them and after. I hope that you also gained a bit more knowledge, a bit more confidence. Again, if you feel like diving a bit deeper, because I think we covered quite a lot, then you can grab the free PDF guide, link in the show notes. If you want to reach out to me or to them, then you can do that on LinkedIn below the post of this episode, or you can contact them directly. I share their LinkedIn contact and Instagram account also in the show notes. We are always happy to hear from you. If you think this episode might also benefit someone else, then feel free to share it with them. Follow the podcast to not miss future episodes. And then thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, take care. Goodbye. Yours, Miriam.